Cool.
I got mobility. To the mic.
We're loud, Brad.
I don't think we're going to need the microphone.
I'm not. The problem
You
is
will need the microphone.
me getting to them, you know?
Yeah.
This audio will pick us up because I got this and you got that, but...
When I was deciding about speakers, I was like, oh, we're all so loud. I was like, I forgot about Brad.
Huh? I really have to stretch to, like, speak loud enough for you to hear, and it's, like, instinctually uncomfortable, you know? But I'll get there. I say listen up, so you gotta work a little harder to hear me. Or be more in the situation, because you're really trying to hear me, so like you actually have to listen, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's my tactic.
Thanks, Brad.
All right,
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming out today. A little bit of housekeeping. There are cupcakes still in the back. There's beverages in the coolers. If you have to use the restroom, well, you could wait, but you go around to the front door, and there's signs that'll lead you back to the restroom. It's a little bit of you go through the door. How do you do it? You go through the door, and then you make a left all the way to the end of the hallway. Or grab Dominica and she'll walk you in. Special thank you to Dominica and Impact Life for hosting us today. We really appreciate that. Today we have been working. Where's Sarah? We've been working for over a year now to spread the messaging around body brokering and human trafficking inside and outside of recovery residences. There's some national trends that get a little scary in other states around human trafficking happening. Delaware has done a lot of great work in human trafficking, and to my knowledge, at least as it relates to our certified recovery residences and our Oxford houses, we haven't seen an increase in body brokering or human trafficking. We have seen bad operators pop up. That started, we started that about 18 months ago with Impact Life, hosting town halls, bringing awareness. There was a 2-bedroom apartment in Ellesmere that had 18 people living in it, and that really caught our attention. It caught the attention of our legislators. Today we do have Senator Dan Cruz in the crowd. Thank you. He's been a great ally so far, continues to be. We have Julia Laws from the Attorney General's office. Julia is also the Executive Director of the Fatal Overdose Review Commission. Thank you for joining us. That was it. Brad Owens here is a dear friend and a willing participant. I called him on Tuesday, and
You sure it's Tuesday?
it felt like Tuesday.
It felt like yesterday.
It felt like yesterday.
This morning when I looked at the questions that I'm supposed to ask.
Yeah. So he's going to moderate our chat. So we're going to have a conversation. We want this to be intimate. We want this to be collaborative. So there'll be opportunity to ask questions, to make comments throughout. And then, again, I don't know if I did it, but I'm Andrew Thurn. I'm the Executive Director of the First State Alliance of Recovery Residences. Thank you. I also sit on Wilmington University's Human Trafficking Advisory Council, and so I'm very passionate about this topic. And then I'll let other people introduce themselves. We can start with Brad.
You see how he turned it on? He said, and I'm Andrew Thurn, the Executive Director of First State Alliance of Recovery Residences. Like, what's some oomph there? I admire that. My name is Brad Owens. I am the Director of the Delaware Opioid Settlement Commission. But Brad himself, I grew up in Sussex County. I've lived in Newcastle County and Wilmington for the last 15 years or so. I spent 15 years of my life in and out of prisons and in drug treatment facilities as a staff person and a mentor or just someone there learning along the way, but mostly as an employee in these facilities. And I appreciate Andrew inviting me. I'm going to do my best I can to follow a set of questions, but if something inspires you, or when I sort of cue you, the audience to respond or provide your input, I would love that. It would help me facilitate better too. Trust me, you don't want to hear my voice the whole time. You barely can. So if you can't, if you in the back is like this, I'll see you and I'll speak louder. Sound good? Thank you all.
I'm Ashley Reed. I'm the Director of Housing at Lyman Recovery and Wellness. Also a person in recovery, and I got sober in a recovery residence as well. Housing in general is sort of my deal. That's what I love, and probably because of my own experience, but also just like length of time and being able to watch people in that sweet spot where they're really starting to like get it and then rebuild with their families. And I've worked in other areas, more frontline, some other stuff in recovery, but in housing is really where my heart is. So that's me. That's why I'm here, and thank you for having me. That's it.
Great. Hannah?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Hannah Bartley. I'm the Peer Doula Program Supervisor with Impact Life. So I've been working in the field of substance use disorder for probably the past 6 years, but I'm also a person in long-term recovery, so I'm coming up on 7 years. Yeah, I'm so grateful to be here. I've experienced with a lot of different aspects. I've worked in treatment facilities, I've worked in detox, residential. My previous position with Impact was the nurse care coordinator for wound care and outreach. So I was literally on the street meeting people where they are. And now I work with pregnant and parenting people anywhere from pregnancy up to 12 months postpartum. So thank you.
Brad, it's your show.
All right. Well, let's sort of set the foundation a bit. When Andrew says I'm the director of the First State Alliance of Recovery Residences, first thing I think of is what is that? What is FSARR? And then perhaps I'll lead into the recovery residence discussion.
We are the foundation of what we do is certification and compliance for all sober living in Delaware. A few years ago, through the work, and it was a decade-long effort to get this legislation passed, requiring certification for places receiving state money, grant opportunities, referral eligibility, all kinds of different stuff. So it's really wonderful initiative that's happened. And really what we do is we provide support and certification to all of our sober living and recovery residents providers in Delaware. To date, we have not failed anybody for certification, and I think that's important, and that speaks to the tenacity of our staff working with everybody to make sure that they get certified. That's Sarah Simpkins. She's our compliance coordinator. And so we don't fail, right? We just help people do better or do differently. And also, we've hosted housing summits. We have a scholarship fund available to address social determinants of health through the Opioid Abatement Commission. So we're really here as a representation of recovery residences and to support them through the process.
To ensure safe recovery housing.
Yes.
Okay. When we say safe recovery housing, or you also use the term sober living, are they the same thing?
Interchangeable. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I could say sober living house or a recovery residence?
Yeah.
All right. And what can we, the public, the clients, the staff, expect when we say safe recovery housing?
We, so nationally, NAR, which is the National Alliance of Recovery Residences, we are the NAR affiliate in Delaware, and Oxford House are the only nationally recognized bodies for recovery residences. And so what that means is that we have set the standard for safe, equitable, sober living environments nationally. And we as FSARR instill them in Delaware. And so it's far more than just the structure of a building. It's what is their program like? How does it support their recovery? What the policies and procedures, what you do in case of a reoccurrence of use, notifying next of very detailed information gets reviewed as part of their certification to ensure quality services and housing is being provided.
Okay. What would you say, and I'll open it to you, since recovery housing is something that you've been through and that you operate. What are some of the common misconceptions about recovery housing in Delaware?
Misconceptions. I'd say, well, I think there's a misconception that it's easy to do. Because I think especially when you want to live up to certain standards for safety and for dignity, that it isn't. I feel like there is a lot of people that have really good intentions and want to start recovery housing, and I love that, and more is better, obviously, but it isn't an easy thing because you have to really think through how you're going to do it while using best practices, and you're going to get so many different walks of life, and you're going to want to meet people where they're at, which means a lot of policy, a lot of safety precautions. And I also just think that maybe that they're all the same. I think one of the great things about having an affiliate now in Delaware is that if I was a family member of someone that needed help and I knew nothing, because I know, like, my mom knew nothing when this was all like kicking off for me. If I knew that there was somewhere I could go, a website or an accrediting body or somewhere where I could go, and I knew, like, this, there are people watching this list of houses, and with knowing nothing at all, at the very least I know that there's some accountability in where I would send my loved one. Like, that does set people apart, and we want everyone obviously to do well and have more opportunity for housing, but I would want a list of, this is good places, people are watching these places, people are making sure that they follow the policies that they say they have. I would want to go there and say, this is where I can choose from. I think before FSARR, there was just a lot of people not knowing. We know in this community, we know we have a lot of really good recovery residences. We're a small state with a lot of good options, but the people who aren't us don't necessarily know that. They don't know that a Lyman or an Impact or a CCD are the ones on the list. You know what I mean? So I just think it really pushes it out to people. We're not all the same, unfortunately. There are bad players, but if you know you can go to one certain spot and say these are the good players, then that would just be helpful for as many people as possible.
You know, you said part of the misconceptions, right, is that there's a misconception that we're all the same, right? And what I appreciate actually about what we do is we don't come in and dictate how you run your program, right? Lyman runs their Lyman program the Lyman way. Impact Life does their, right? We just ensure that you're following certain standards. And I think it's important that we have a variety, a plethora of different kinds of programming type. And so I think that's important.
Yeah, so basically everybody has options to kind of seek whatever path best fits their recovery, but they know that where they're going is going to be held to a standard of care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a misconception that operating a recovery house is easy. There's some misinformation about which recovery houses are certified or where to find them from a family member or individual in addictions. There's a misconception that they're not, that all these organizations are the same, which you're saying they're not. All houses can be different. FSARR serves in a role to sort of ensure they're safe, but you can all be different. All right. That's a very provider-focused answer, and I love that perspective. Also curious, though, from people who live in a recovery residence, are there any misconceptions that you have seen from your peers or family members or the general public, and could give me an example? Yeah.
Last year I was living in the house in Ellesmere. That was a scam. It was ran by Honey's Honeys. They had it as get sober, road to recovery. They had us filling out blank money orders and handing them over. They barely did drug tests. Everybody was getting high in the house. I had to sleep in a room with 2 other men that I didn't know.
So this was an example of unsafe recovery residences. All right. Any?
So, like having that list
Yeah.
and somewhere to go would be very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
But me and my ex, we looked into their certifications and everything, threw up the red flags to Ellesmere. They came out and they shut it down.
Well, good for you. And you found.
But you hadn't been technically, I got shut down.
And you found another recovery residence. Where are you at
I
now?
was able to go back to my parents then, but I'm at Impact.
Impact Life. Impact Life's a FSARR certified residence, right?
Yeah.
How many residences in Impact Life?
Oh my goodness, now
17.
17.
How many residents?
Yeah.
135.
No.
All
Are
right.
we
So
saying residents with a T
Residences
or
residents?
18 houses.
18 houses?
and then you have how many total FSARR certified houses in the state of Delaware?
47.
47. So with Impact Life's numbers and the other 30-something houses, how many total individuals in Delaware are living in FSARR certified housing?
So we have, Sarah, keep me honest, we have about 460 certified beds now, and we maintain an operation occupancy of 90 to 93% across
Okay.
all of them.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
What about Oxford houses? What's the difference in? You said they're the only 2 nationally recognized organizations. So, is Oxford certified, or how does that work?
Oxford is not certified. They have an evidence-based program and a evidence-based model that really does work, and it's well researched. It's well documented. They're not certified. The legislation gave them a carve out, and we've seen that happen in other states as well. And part of it's because of their
History, or
their history and their operational structure, right? We have 47 houses, right, certified. We have 3 staff. We have a full board. We have a lot of hands in the pot. Whereas Oxford House in Delaware is well supported, but that's not always the model in every state. They run a pretty bare bones operation, and that just allows them to keep their costs down. And
understood.
yeah.
So, what are some of the clear signs that a residence is a certified safe recovery residence?
Well, they'll have a plaque. I love those plaques.
They go like right up front in the entryway.
Yeah.
Where do they put it?
They put them everywhere.
Visible to the.
Very visible.
Okay.
Some things that you'll notice right away. What are
They're
some things?
clean.
They're clean.
They look like homes.
And that's it. Is
Quality
fire
quality
exits.
living. How, like, even just down to what it looks like on the inside, the structure, the furniture, it's a nice, clean place to live.
It's a home-like environment,
Yeah.
right? Like, and that's one of the standards that I think is very important. When I went into sober living, it felt like home. Actually, I felt like home for the first time in 30 years. Right? I went through Lyman House, and it was the first time that I felt like that.
And space.
Yeah.
One of the things that FSARR does that I think is super important is like a certain amount of space, a certain amount of people per room, so that it's not a situation where it's like, you know, you're stacked up on top of each other. It is trauma informed as far as space goes, and feeling comfortable and secure in where you're trying to get sober.
Can I add one other thing, Andrew?
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's important to that people know that there should never be an issue with filing a grievance or expressing a concern.
And there should be people accessible to you. There should be like a grievance process that you're either made aware of or that you learn about once that you ask. And we've been hearing a lot around provider choice too, and I think that's important to bring up.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to go to services, whereas housing provider has a service if you don't want to. Meaning, no one can say to you, you live with us. This is our outpatient and social prescribing site. We don't tell people they have to come here just because they live in our houses. We let them know this exists and it's here for them, and if they want it, absolutely. Do we think it makes things easier for coordination of care? Absolutely. But if someone's like, hey, your therapist gave me the side eye, and I don't think she would, but I don't want to go there, we're going to help them find another provider that we vet, because that's the other thing I think is important for the providers. I would say, I can only speak for us, but we have a list of vetted providers, because we're going to send folks to where we know they're going to be safe, even if it's only for outpatient, right? And so I think those things are important. Like, there is a red flag if you're being told, come live with us, but you have to go to outpatient with us, and you have, like, that's not, clients have choice in the state.
It's grounds for losing your certification.
Yeah.
It is a part of body brokering, right? Even if it's not your outpatient provider, if you're dictating, if you're demanding where they seek services outside of a level 4,
We're demanding consent, demanding.
Yeah.
You said body brokering a few times, and when you say that, I think like the selling of humans or dead bodies. Either way, body brokering sounds bad or creepy. Can you help me understand a little bit better, and maybe folks in the room that also have those weird images of selling bodies or something?
I wish I knew where the term body brokering really came from, because it's a fancy way to me of saying human trafficking. You're trafficking people for financial gain by dictating what services they go to, and you're usually getting a kickback in doing so. So 15, 16 years ago, Florida saw this influx of recovery residences popping up, and really what they were doing is it was IOP with housing, and they were like gouging your insurance. Body brokering is specific to insurance charging, whereas like human trafficking is more broad. But like really, when we boil it down, it's human trafficking.
Money.
Yeah.
They're profiting off of somebody's addiction.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
They're coming to a place to get help, and they're just being exploited.
So if I was a reentry case manager working in a prison, and I had an agreement, not written, but an understanding with Impact Life that, hey, if I make a referral here and you're able to bill this client for insurance, give me a little piece of that.
Yeah.
So I take like a little fee. That would be an example of body brokering.
Yeah. And so the other thing that we've seen this, West Virginia had a big problem of labor trafficking. Oklahoma, oh gosh, I almost went to a chicken farm to get sober in Oklahoma. Real story, my dad almost sent me to a chicken, because that's what they do. But really what it is it's forced labor to go work on a chicken farm.
Not all farms we have a recovery farm, it does not operate like that.
And it is. It's and we've seen that in more rural, not that one, states where there's labor trafficking happening as well.
So they refer people from Delaware to other states in programs that they don't know necessarily where they're going.
We know of 2 cases where people went to a house in Ellesmere and got connected to services out of state. And the way they were doing it, and there's been a lawsuit. Gosh, I hope this isn't slander. There's been a lawsuit against an organization out of the state of Oklahoma because people were getting on insurance in Oklahoma, and then they were going to California, exhausting the benefits, and then they were left in California.
I was just going to say that, like, being on outreach, when I was on outreach, it was a real problem, and we kind of went on a deep dive to try to get as much information as we could, and a lot of what we found had roots out in Oklahoma, and just generic websites. I think they were like .biz, it wasn't like .org, not even .com, and just kind of like copy and pasted like ChatGPT. The address, when you looked it up, it was like a recording studio, like it wasn't a residential treatment facility. And when we were out on outreach, there were individuals from these different groups, their email addresses on their business cards always ended at gmail.com, so
Yeah.
anybody can make a Gmail address. And they were going out and talking to the individuals that we were serving out on outreach, and they were offering them money to come with them, to go to their detox out of state. So it's just a lot. And I mean, sometimes when people are desperate like that, you know, you're out on the street, you're desperate, you're going to take whatever option will get you well in the moment.
Especially if it sounds like a cool chicken farm in Oklahoma.
Well, I had no options, right? I didn't know where to go for services. My mom had no idea. She was at her wit's end. Let me tell you, she was over my stuff.
She wasn't going on the FSARR website to find certified recovery.
No. And she, you know, reached out to my dad, who's sober, and he's in Oklahoma. So he's like, hey, what about, it was either go to Maryland or go to Oklahoma. Luckily, I ended up in Maryland, but
Andrew, you raise a really good point, right? Because one of the things I think that we hear often, or we get asked, is if it's so bad, why don't people tell someone, or why don't, like, residents, right? If it's so bad, but I don't think that people understand that when someone has been sick and suffering, and they finally get an opportunity at literally like a bed that is warm with some food and some folks around, you're not always gonna see how bad it is because you're just so grateful to have this safe space, right? And so I think it's important for those who are like in treatment or looking for treatment, coming out of treatment, to really understand that there is this standard that exists for a reason, because people deserve that, because housing should be a right and they should have a safe place to be, and that sometimes we don't recognize the dysfunction because we've lived so dysfunctional for so long.
yeah.
And I just think it's important to point out.
And there's not a process to shut them down, right? Like, we get calls, the DCM gets calls, looking at you, Senator. We get calls all the time about shutting these. I mean, it took 9 months, 12 months to get that place shut down.
Well, they just changed the name.
Well, they moved to a new address.
Yeah, that's...
And the website's name changed like every 3
Yeah.
days, and it would redirect you to a different. It's like a cycle of you don't know what to do.
Yeah. So
But it's also awful that not only it ripples out even further, because when you're dealing with a vulnerable population already that has obvious trust issues because of trauma and the way that they were living, and then a provider does not provide safe, trusting places like these, that then we may never see them. They may never make it to a certified recovery residence or somebody who's really doing the right thing by the people that they're serving. Because if I was that person, I imagine if I went through this situation that I would be like, that's what they all do. I'm not going to do that.
And we made a lot of efforts with our certified houses that if we got a call from somebody in one of those houses to get out of them, we could get them streamlined into the houses. But like, it's hard to get that messaging out there.
Right.
I've shown up at the doors.
He was
Leslie's
like
not
setting
here.
up a table out front of the
Yeah,
house.
Leslie. There was one woman who she managed to get into one of the houses. But there, you can't do a lot. You can't do a lot.
Yeah.
So, do you all understand what body brokering is now? It's not the moving of dead bodies.
Yes.
But perhaps referring individuals to different places or sending them to an agency where there's some financial kickback, as a means to an end with financial motivation.
Yeah.
Understood.
Do you want to take a question?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's not really a question. I wanted to answer how FSARR has helped. So when we look at what we're discussing, some of us, there's a very thin line between recovery and, let's say, somebody coming from prison. So sometimes that thin line does not allow you. Like, for example, FSARR has helped us to streamline. So we would get people coming from prison, but they are really actually not in recovery. So they are very strict on the policies. They look to make sure that nobody comes in who is coming from prison, for example, because that is where we needed help, and they were able to streamline. So it took us back But now we are able to have strictly people who are coming in recovery and not really necessarily. So you're not doing kickbacks here and there because you have the right people in the house. So FSARR has really helped us to understand that.
I think if I can just speak on that for a minute, I think sometimes it's hard to tell the difference of where that line is because they're so intertwined, like incarceration, substance use disorder, like it is so intertwined. And I know for myself, so I was incarcerated. That's how my recovery journey began. And the reentry positions there are overloaded with people. I mean, it's just like a revolving door. It's so many people in and out. And I think if the concern is that people are coming into recovery residences just from the prison system, like that can speak to like the housing crisis that we're facing. But I think it's really hard, and it can be a challenge to say that they don't necessarily want to enter recovery because it's so intertwined. It really is.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite people that we've worked with. I love the work that they're doing. And it's a good point, right? We are in a housing crisis. Mm-hmm. Frontline staff are overworked,
They just don't have.
I don't want to say paid, right? They're under-resourced.
Yeah.
And underpaid. So they're just putting people where they can find a bed, and they may not meet criteria to go into a recovery house, right? And that's what we've been able to help with. Thank you. In helping to strengthen the application and referral process.
So it's ideal that people living in recovery houses are coming from a certain level of treatment or have shown that they are in the process of recovery, whether they have support networks or what have you. Is it more likely to get into a recovery house if you are coming from a inpatient treatment facility, or can you come from general public?
You can come from, and I'll let you take some of that too. You can come from any place. We've seen people, and I love when this happens. We've seen people go back after, like they left a year, 2, 3 years later, and they've needed to come back into a recovery house, completely sober, no relapse, no reoccurrence, but like life gets lifey, and they needed that structure and that help again, and they've come back. So, I don't know that there's an ideal referral pathway. I would not say there's an ideal referral pathway. However, to their point, they have to participate in a program of recovery, whatever program that is, right? So they can come from incarceration and they can cut right. They need to come into a recovery residence and participate in their recovery program.
Because programming is one of the requirements to be FSARR certified in the first place.
Well, in serving a primary SUD, right? That's you have to mention that statement. That has to be in your mission statement to be certified.
Do people sometimes not choose FSARR certified recovery residences because there is a requirement to do programming and it's probably more strict than perhaps a non-certified resident? Like, tell me about that.
Yeah. I think sometimes people do.
Okay.
I think sometimes we do. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but sometimes I just don't really have it in me to follow all the rules and stuff. Well, so sometimes it can be that. Sometimes it can be just you don't know another way. Sometimes it can be, and I'm just being honest and I'm just speaking for myself. Like sometimes if I might have like a reservation about something, I might find a reason to look elsewhere. I mean, it happens.
Well, I just don't think the availability, right? So like other people will choose an Oxford House over Lyman House, let's say, because of rules, or right? We only have 2 level 2s, 2 level 1s, which is similar to an Oxford House model in Delaware. So there's no availability to go into a FSARR certified house that's similar to the Oxford House model, where there isn't
a lot of programming.
Programming, right?
At some level that you would have to be willing to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's life. Like if you have a job.
Right.
I mean, if you have like a career, kids, family, stuff that you can't easily just give up and take a break from, that could be a reason too.
Yeah.
Okay. Can anybody here relate to that? Like, I didn't go to a program house because I didn't want to participate in a program, and instead I went somewhere else. And did that work for you, or any perspective from the crowd in that respect?
I didn't pick to go to Lion House due to the rules.
Requirements
Yeah.
of the client living
of
there.
the program, but I went to Impact, and this is my second time back due to a relapse. But I like Impact because I learned a lot about myself. It's not you know you're going by the rules of what's required for the program, but also you can learn what you can do and grow from it too. You can also like go back to school. You can go back to school and make your career bigger than what you expect. So you can find a better job.
So you hesitated at the idea of alignment house programming because of the required expectations. And then you found yourself at Impact Life, who also has programming, and you discovered all the opportunities that you have, and wasn't so scared.
I just went off the back of what somebody else said.
Yeah.
Instead of going.
So misconceptions sometimes that programming's too hard, living in a recovery residence, certified one's too hard. The same as you said sometimes people think running a recovery residence is hard, and sometimes residents think living in one could be too hard. You think that's fair?
Yeah.
But
I heard good things about Lion House.
and to her point, both are certified.
Right.
Right. One of our uncertified recovery residences that I know of that operates allows or has allowed, been known to allow medicinal marijuana. And that would be a reason to choose an uncertified house over a certified house, because they are not allowed. That is not allowed in Delaware.
So
Don't go there.
certified recovery residences will allow medication-assisted treatment, buprenorphine or Suboxone or whatever, but will not recognize medical marijuana as a treatment.
Correct. It's in Delaware code. So our legislation that enacted certification and FSARR specifically says marijuana as one of the prohibited substances.
Gotcha. All right. Amy.
So I can do a little different perspective on it from a case management and somebody that's not in recovery.
Cool.
And knowing that the different levels of care in each house or how they're run different kind of allows somebody like in my shoes to say, okay, you've never balanced a checkbook. You have never, balanced money, or you have never cooked meals before, which I absolutely have seen. You have never lived in the recovery world, or this is your first time coming out of treatment or out of incarceration. I think you could really benefit from a higher level of care, right? Somebody that is more close in the house, like some of Impact's houses have counselors that come in the houses and medical staff that go in the houses, like that, holding their hand to kind of learn those life skills, where if you put them directly in an Oxford house where it's more of an independent living, they're more prone to possibly, which I would wish them obviously not, but to fall on their face because they're still fighting the same challenges that they don't know. And the stressors of somebody coming out of incarceration or somebody coming off the street or out of treatment are already huge. Trying to put all the pieces of your puzzle back together that you've already broke from your addiction. So trying to do that alone on a very open, independent house is probably a lot harder for somebody that doesn't have any of those life skills, trying to manage court and probation and task and whatever other obligations that they have. Sometimes just getting out and going straight to a 9-to-5 or a 40-hour week job and trying to figure it out it's not beneficial for everybody. So where FSARR has different levels and it actually breaks it down on their website of like, what does this include? I think that helps families or people like me on the professional side of it to be able to understand what each level really means. You know, I can say that I work a lot with, you know, recovery houses, especially now, but so I can see the difference, right? But before, when I was on just behind the desk, I would be able to provide that. And I think it's important for other counselors in case management, whoever's representing, to help these people on the streets or in the community to really know the difference of, you know, like Impact has different levels of care, right? Some people need the strongest of the strongest care because they don't know what to do next. Some people, like Andrew said, they might be clean, but feel like they're teeter-tottering or whatever. They might need some structure or that community support in a house, so they go back. Well, if you've already gotten your tools in your tool bag, obviously you're utilizing them to know to go back to a recovery house is your strongest moment right now, right? So they're probably more beneficial on a more independent side. So I think that is something that's really great about the recovery houses statewide is that there's so many varieties that because recovery is not a one-size-fits-all. So therefore, you can match a recovery house and what it offers to that person individually.
All right. Thank you, Amy. Outside of going to a safe house, FSARR certified residence, like, do you cover? Are there any additional benefits for an individual in recovery to go and live at a FSARR certified house? Like, can you get your rent paid for? Do they charge rent all the time? Are there other resources you can tap into?
So there are. So between FSARR and Attack Addiction, we both organizations have, and I referred to this earlier, recovery support scholarships available for them. So Attack Addiction scholarships can help support people with the housing, with the program fees, the rent portion of it. Also, there's a number of them that don't charge rent. Lyman has a couple houses that doesn't charge rent. Impact Life has some houses that doesn't charge rent.
Why don't they charge rent?
I'm sorry?
Why don't they charge rent?
Because they're amazing organizations.
They just do it for free.
No, I mean, so Delaware, and unlike other states, Dominica and I argue on this one actually. Delaware has done an amazing job supporting recovery residence operators with their reimbursement rate.
That's not what we argue about. We agree on.
Yeah.
So you don't charge, some residences don't charge rent because they get that money from a grant or a insurance or
fundraisers.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I have not seen the data. Dominica says there's other states that do it. I have not seen other states do direct contracting like Delaware does. And nobody I've talked to within the NAR family has either. Massachusetts is the state that she always brings up that does a lot of funding like this, like Delaware does.
They
but
have a lot of funding, but they also have a lot of regulation.
Yeah.
Which is, in my opinion, a good thing. Like you have to be certified before you can even open a recovery house in the state. In many states, Jersey's that way, PA's that way, which reduces the amount of bad players or the realtors who open houses and things of that.
Gotcha. So some of the financial support coming into organizations that don't charge rent is coming from government sources, and if you do receive funding from the state, you have to be FSARR certified.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
But also, because I just think this is important, while we do not, and I'll only speak for Impact, while we do not charge rent, we do charge a recovery support service fee. And so right now with us, is that $45? $45,
45 what, a month or a week?
A week.
Okay.
And that's only once people start working. So like they don't accrue, we don't believe in that. That's weird, right? Like, and then you have all this debt that you're worried about. And also like if people only work part-time or if they're pregnant, that all gets taken into account. But there is a cost, right, to housing. Any way you chalk it up, we've tried to keep that as minimal as possible. It was $35 a week the first 5 years that we operated, but with inflation and the cost of everything, it is tough. It's difficult, and I think that's why you see some of the bad players. I mean, there's people right now charging $175, $200 a week.
Well,
They exist. They're here.
They do exist. And,
I'm not saying they're all bad players.
Okay.
And they're not. There's great providers, and there are people who can afford that. There are doctors and lawyers, and there are people who have imploded their life and they're getting it back together. They have family support that are willing to pay it. That's not our folks. The majority of the people that present to admissions for us are coming out of treatment, unemployed, have destroyed or imploded their entire life. And when we say things like, when you move in, are there things that you might need? I mean, we have people that are literally coming in with the clothes on their back, no food stamps, nothing. And then it takes 45 days to get some folks entitlements. And so, like, my belief, this is Dominica, I'm not speaking as a representative of FSARR or of Impact, but I just believe that I don't know how we expect folks to stay well if they come in and immediately, like when I was on house arrest, right? They were like, get a job, pay your fines, pay your $70,000 in restitution, take care of your kids, pay for daycare. By the way, you make 36 grand, so you can't get food stamps or purchase a care. And they're like, we'll see you in 2 weeks for your drug screen. And like, by the grace of God and other people, people do it. But like, if every odd is stacked against you, and it just feels like blow after blow after blow after, at some point the levee breaks, right? And literally people will go, it's easier to just go get high. It's easier to just be out there and not have the responsibility, not have to worry about the kids. My DFS has them or whatever. And we don't want that, right? Like, we want folks, and it is a balance, right? It's figuring out how you do all the things, provide the quality care, hire staff that are quality, credentialed, certified peers, CADC, whatever, and somehow figure out how to make it work. So I'm not talking bad about the players who do charge those astronomical amounts of rent. I'm just saying that would be extremely difficult for an average human that's trying to get on their feet to be able to afford.
Because when FSARR looks at it, because we look at all avenues of income per that resident, whether that's house fees, whether that's state contracts. And so I understand what Domenica's saying, that it's hard for an individual to pay $175, $200 a week. And it is. I'm not saying it's not. But we take into account how much money is coming in from all sources. So we've seen some residents that receive grants or contracts or whatever can get up to $400, $450, $500 a week for a resident, right? So when we're looking at the charge of rent to an individual, we're also taking into account that some of our providers are getting more than that through philanthropy, through whatever, for the resident as well. Which is why it doesn't seem as high to charge or to take in $200 a week for residency.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
So
weird tangent.
Some FSARR residences require the resident to pay rent, others do not.
Correct, and it depends on their business models, right? And it almost, and I don't want to say that it hurts us, it makes it challenging for new operators to come in because they don't have access to those dollars, right? They only have access, and most models across the country are self-pay models, to my knowledge. So a lot of the other affiliates, the resident is paying their way at a level 3, at a level 1, everywhere. And that's kind of the general model. So in Delaware, we're a little, thankfully, backwards, where we have more money going into it, but it makes it a little more difficult for new operators to come in.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Been in too many recovery houses. This is the first time I've ever been in a recovery house. But in my house where we're at, which is Impact, like they send us to essentially to get IOP, which is 3 months. Every day you have to do a group. So I can't, like I only can say about something that I used to hear other clients say, and I'm not going to point out other programs, but like, well, as far as I'm aware, like Impact, I'm telling you, you can tell. Let me put it this way: you can tell when you're in a facility if that person cares or not by the way the facility looks, right? So when I haven't really been in one house, but I've visited others, and like I could really say, because I know Dominican when she was at Branch Line. So like in 5-6 years, man, she has done amazing, man. Listen, her houses are like, like top of the line for places I've been, and I've been around places for 40-something years. And not only that, like it's like structured like nobody else. You can't live for 45 hours a week nowhere in this world. Like other programs are way higher. So like you can tell that the program is built to help the individual. You just can tell. You know what I mean? Like you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I got to take my hat off to Dominica because let me tell you, I've been trying to get in the since I was at Bowling Green, like my second. I was trying to get there. Like that was my first choice, but I got sent somewhere else. But it worked in the long run. And let me tell you, man, this impact, and not because I'm in Impact Life, because I see, I'm coming from the inside out.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of good doing, this program doing. Like, it's not built around making money. You can tell that she pours her effort and her time in the people that she services, man. And I gotta, I tell her thank you because she saved my life. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Impact.
You saved your life. You saved your life. And let me just say this. Thank you. I appreciate you. But I want to say this too, right? Number one, it's the team. It's the whole team.
Right.
Because I just get the pleasure of sitting behind the desk and getting the credit. You guys are the ones doing it. But also, I just want to say this because I think I just would be remiss if I didn't. We looked at Lyman as like a big brother, big sister when we started. Lyman was my always go-to for 20 years. I mean, everyone knew like Lyman was always the place. Most of my staff, we would sit in interviews and they would say they were a Lyman graduate, and if we had extra points, they would get them because we knew, right, that if they went through Lyman, look, I mean, they're all Lyman graduates, right? Because we respected and believed in what Lyman House has done, and they were the first recovery house in the state.
Yeah.
For decades, they were the only one. And so when Mike was there as the executive director, and we knew we were starting housing, we called Mike and we said, we want to be like Lyman. And so how can we do that? And so we have a great relationship, right? We only send folks to a few recovery houses if we're full. Lyman's one, obviously. And so, so many of us get inspiration from other providers and other people who work in the field and other models, right? That was ours originally. And so I think we all have our like unique approaches and how we do things. But Miguel, you hit the nail on the head when you said if you can feel it when you're in, whether it's Impact or Lyman or CCD or wherever, if you don't feel cared for where you're residing, start doing some
Move out
and find somewhere to go. Because that's it, right? Like the connection that happens is what, I'm not saying it's going to keep people sober, but it is going to help keep people well. And so like, and maybe you don't find the connection in the houses. Maybe you find it in the greater recovery community and through meetings and things like that. But that feeling cared for thing, to know that someone cares for your well-being and that you're safe is I think the most important thing. And it's the entire reason that FSARR exists. When Mike Duffy and Sue and they had already kind of started, and when we came into this with FSARR, the whole goal between Sue and Mike and I was to put something in place, and Clinton was to put something in place so that not everybody could just come into the state and open a recovery house and call it whatever, Sunset Rising or whatever, like
Sunset
Oasis Flower, like whatever, and then call it a recovery house and say that they're doing great things. There needed to be something that was in place to actually set standards in a model. And that was the point of FSARR. And so I just want to give credit. You gave me credit. Thank you, Miguel. I need to give Lyman credit and just say that there are really great folks doing great work in a very important area, and we take it very serious. All of us.
I mean, you remain our only program, our only certified provider that doesn't have a fee.
Yeah.
2 years.
Well, I think so. That one of the coolest thing I think that's happened since FSARR has launched in Delaware, from my perspective as a provider, is the connections between the certified residences, which I don't know that I even considered that when this was all happening. When we were getting certified, for sure, there was just, a lot of stuff to go through and think about. But one of the things I did not think about was that it would bring us closer together, which it definitely has. We've all sort of been partners or have an understanding between each other for a really long time. But since FSARR specifically, and since meeting together in spaces that have just been more like open forums of like conversations and like, what do you guys offer and what does your level look like, and all these things that we didn't know before is just making it it feels so much better in Delaware as far as that goes. Like, I know that when I have somebody that is not maybe willing to do the level of structure that a level 3 Lyman house is offering, but they really want recovery and they want, different things, I can call Impactor, I can call CCD, and I know that they're gonna just arms wide open, and that has been really awesome to watch. And then just even like collaborating together, like, oh, but is this like a move over to another certified residence thing, or is this a different level thing, and being able to like really have responsible care between agencies has been really, really cool to see too.
I also want to wrap up. Thank you again, Brad. We did launch a new portion of our website, FSARR.org, that talks about, in collaboration with DCM, all of this was thanks to their support through this. But we did launch an update to our website that outlines body brokering, human trafficking, where to go to get help, how to contact us. You can call Sarah. Her number is listed on our website. It is not her cell phone, but she will answer it. It comes to her cell phone. So please check it out. The housing directory is there. Thank you for coming out. It's always, I've missed you. Thank you everybody for coming out. Any last words from Hannah or Ashley?
Good talk.
Good talk.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Chat.
The smoke was like burning my eyes the whole time I'm like this.
Oh no.
Hello.
What are we doing?
See, I think you were quieter because you had a microphone.
I don't think you spoke into the microphone.
I don't need to. I'm loud.
Good job, Andrew.
You did great.
Thanks. You did great.
How was it?
It's good.
Yeah?
It did feel conversation.